French far-right works to turn election men into power. Its rivals wanted to stop it in decisive vote. Yes, there were elections. The first round of elections, it seems the French Republic has 2 rounds of parliament elections. In the first round, if you get 50%, you secure a seat. I believe you have to secure some sort of percentage to enter the second round, to be qualified for participating in the second round. In your district, obviously, it's not like required by the party, however, in your district. And the Rassemblement National won by, I believe it was 33%. It's a big victory. It's a major victory. However, I believe they still need more to make a supermajority, and they said that they will only do a supermajority. They do not want anyone else in their government because they know that it would be a clone fiesta. It would probably work like the Sweden coalition between the moderate Republicans and the Swedish Brothers, was it? I believe it was Swedish Brothers. People do not seem to really like them. I think I saw some of the prime minister from the moderates, Ulf Kristersson, not very positive. A lot of people switched back to the, I forgot her name, but to the Social Democrats, I think it was, or Socialists, who have like 34% in the polls. I digress. So for Rassemblement National, it would be most ideal to make the supermajority. However, it would be also ideal for the Macron party to actually let them rule. You think that might not make much sense. However, in a strategical sense, alright, let's speak strategy. French, the European Union, and the world is in a very peculiar state. You got the world debt at record heights, and it's not slowing down. The United States are getting more and more indebted, and if the Donald Trump wins, it's likely they're going to get even more indebted over the course of the next 4 years. And if you would let the Rassemblement National to rule the country for the upcoming years, there's almost 100% chance, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, they are going to mess it up somehow and their preferences are going to plummet. So whilst you may be proclaiming to be fighting for the, democracy and stuff, it could theoretically benefit you much more if you waited one term. Sure, people do not want to hear it because they fear the Rassemblement National would start mass deportations, which is budget. If you do not think this is a good idea, then obviously this is a wretched worry from you. In the long run, it would be better because the new government is going to face the same problems that the Macron faced. And Macron's party, was it the Renaissance, I believe? Yeah, they face a lot of issues. They once long time ago in the presidential elections, they formed a supermajority, or they formed a government with the Republicans. Republicans in the French are pretty much, I don't know what to think about them. I actually have no idea who works there, although they are moderates, I believe. They are moderates, pretty spineless. I don't hear about them at all, so I'm gonna assume they're just some spineless idiots who want money in their pockets, just like pretty much any politician. But the point I was making, whilst it may seem like a catastrophe, in the long run, this could be very beneficial for the left and for the Macron party to actually let them rule, because they would be having a hell lot of a right. There are many problems France has to deal with, and I don't think they have what it takes to solve them. Like, they want to do a lot of things, however, there's not enough money for it. Therefore, they would have to print, there would be inflation, therefore there would be more devaluation, devaluation of the currency. Do they still use the franc? No, they use euros, oh, for God's sake. They are in the European Union. That is such a stretch question to ask. So as I was saying, there would have a lot of problems to deal with. And as I said, I don't think they would solve them. That would hurt their preferences, and that would allow the left to take over with the supermajority. There you go. And they would probably enter into a coma age. Or maybe not. Maybe they would enter into the wartime age. Who knows? Well, if there was a wartime, then there would be no elections. Like, there would be a war cabinet, and that would be about it. So, let's read it. Paris, with the ultimate outcome still up in the air, France's fiercer anti-immigration national rally and opponents of the long taboo far-right party scrambled Monday to capitalize on an indecisive first round of voting in a surprise legislative elections. Round 1 on Sunday propelled the national rally closer than ever to government, but also left open the possibility that voters could yet block its path to power. In the decisive round 2, France now faces two likely scenarios in what promises to be a torrid last week of high-stakes campaigning. Indeed. Strengthened by a surge of support that made it to the round 1 winner, but not yet to the overall victor, the National Rally and its allies could secure a working majority in the parliament in the final round next Sunday, or they could fall short, stymied by the last hurdle by opponents who still hope to prevent the formation of France's first far-right government since World War II. Both scenarios are fraught with uncertainty for France and its influence in Europe and beyond. I mean, I don't want to break it to you, but France's influence in Europe, well, they have some sort of influence still in Europe. However, beyond Europe, not many people do not give a fuck about the French. And people would give even less fucks should the French not possess the nuclear weapons. That's the only reason why they even care about France. And of course, because of the tourism, but hey, we're not talking about that. But I mean, French military is a joke. I mean, if you hear about the French military or anything about French and army, you probably hear about the French Foreign Legion. That's like the only positive institution you probably heard about. Otherwise, you hear pretty negative things about even the French military that is simply not ready. Is still simply unequipped, does not have enough ammunition, modern equipment. Just imagine the image of France, the country of human rights, the country of enlightenment, which suddenly would become a far-right country. Among others, this is inconceivable, said Olivier Faure. I think Faure. A socialist who comfortably held onto his legislative seat. The far-right tapped into voter frustration with inflation and low income and a sense that many French families are being left behind by globalization. National Rally Marine Le Pen's party's campaign on a platform that promised to raise consumer spending power, slash immigration, and take a tougher lines on European Union rules. Its anti-immigration agenda has contributed to many French citizens with immigrant backgrounds feeling unwelcome in their own country. Getting 289 or more lawmakers in the 577-seat National Assembly would give Le Pen an absolute majority and then the tools to force President Emmanuel Macron to accept her 28-year-old protégé, Jordan Bardella, as France's new prime minister. Such a power-sharing arrangement between Bardella and the centre's president would be awkward, and invite conflict. Macron said he will not step down before his second term expires in 2027. As I said, I still give him respect for calling those elections so early. He probably knew, like, if he would have waited any longer, that this they would maybe get even more. Maybe this was a bad move by him. We'll see. If they win, well, you're gonna know it. Yeah. If they win, you're gonna know it was a bad move. If they're not gonna get the supermajority, then, well, it worked out fine. But at what cost? Getting close to the 289 seats might also work for Le Pen. By promising posts in the government, she may win enough new lawmakers to her side. A national government in France would be an additional triumph for the far right and populist parties elsewhere in Europe that have steadily carved out places in the political mainstream and taken power in some countries, including Hungary. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán will hold the European Union's rotating presidency for the next 6 months. But the first round of the French vote was also sufficiently undecided to offer up the alternative possibility that France's complex two-round system could also leave no single bloc with a clear and workable majority. That would plunge France into unknown territory. However, Le Pen's opponents still view that scenario as a more appealing than victory for her party, which has a history of racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, and hostility towards France's Muslims, as well as historical ties to Russia and a more adversarial attitude towards the EU. We are faced with Trumpization of the French democracy, warned lawmaker Sandrine Rousseau, an ecologist also elected in round 1. Ecologist, huh? I do kind of understand why people. What's an ecologist doing in politics? You might ask me. I have no idea. Trumpization. What do you think French people will care or they will even bother to understand what that means? Most likely not. Like, the French doesn't give a fuck. French people don't probably give too many fucks about Trump. I mean, this is probably good. It will probably, rile up some people. However, I don't think it has any impact to call it Trumpization. Any big impact, to be precise. The election made intense by the high stakes and compressed timeframe has overshadowed preparations for Paris to host the Olympic Games. Oh yeah, they're going to host the Olympic Games. I already forgot about it like 3 times now. Which opens in less than a month. Candidates who did not win outright in the round 1 but qualified for the round 2 have until 6 p.m. Tuesday to decide whether to stay in the race or withdraw. By pulling out, opponents of the national rally might divert voters to other candidates better positioned to beat the far right next Sunday. Some candidates announced of their own accord that they will stepping aside, making the field of national rally their top priority. In other cases, party leaders set the direction, saying they would withdraw candidates in some districts in hopes of blocking Le Pen's path to power. She inherited her party, then called the National Front, from her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, who has multiple convictions for racist and anti-Semitic hate speech. Overall, the National Rally and its allies won a third of nationwide vote Sunday, official results showed. The new Popular Front, a left-wing coalition of parties that joined together in the quick 3-week campaign to beat the far right, got 28% and was followed in third place by Macron. Centrist came with 20% but the 577 seats are elected by districts. So while nationwide results provide an overall picture of how each camp fared, they do not indicate exactly how many seats of the groups will get in the end. Indeed, it works similar to the England. You can get like 12%. You can get 12% of the votes overall. However, you're not gonna even get like 12% worth, 12% worth of MPs in the parliament. No, like you can get only something that's worth like 3%, and that's happened. I'm going to show you the screenshot afterwards in the video. Yeah. So I mean, it's not a good system. It does not represent the will of the people. Like, and you can see it clear just how shit this in Britain, and people shit on the US election system. Like, this is not much better, to be completely honest. But there are urge voters to give him a majority, saying they face a choice between left-wing incendiaries who pose an existential threat to France and his parties offered of a responsible break with Macron's era. Support for the National Rally and the New Popular Front was so strong that they both won more than 30 seats outright on Sunday by taking more than 50% of the vote in some districts. That means there will be no second round in those districts. Turnout at near 67%. That is a lot. That is a very many of people voting. Was the highest since 1997, arresting near 3 decades of deepening voter apathy for legislative elections and for a growing number of French people, politics in general. Macron dissolved the National Assembly and called the snap elections on June 9th, after stinching defeat at the hands of the National Rally in French, voting for the European Parliament. The deeply unpopular and beacon president gambled that the far-right would not repeat that success when the country's own fate was in the balance. But Macron's plan backfired. He is now accused, even by members of his own camp, of having opened up a door for the National Rally by calling voters back to the ballot box, especially when so many are angry over the inflation, the cost of living, immigration, and Macron himself. I think that was a good decision. Like, come on, he knew, like, he saw those posts. He knew his party was not doing good. Like, I mean, this is a good, like, for him. Like, they were not doing good for a long while. Like, this is better than just be there for the rest of your Monday. And that's what most of the parties would do. Like, they would just stay there. They would just stay there. They would stay there to, to get money. Like, this is an honorable thing to do. I'm gonna give it to Macron. Whether it will open up doors for the National Rally or the Rassemblement National, we'll see. I forgot where we were. Oh, if the National Rally can form a government, it has promised to dismantle many of Macron's key domestic and foreign policies, including his pension reform that raised the retirement age. It also says it would stop French deliveries of long-range missiles to Ukraine in the war against Russia. National Rally opponents fear for civil liberties if the party takes power. It plans to boost police powers and curtail the rights of French citizens with dual nationality to work in some defense, security, and nuclear industry jobs. Macron himself warned that the far-right could set France on a path to civil war. I mean, that's probably going to happen. We know how France works. Come on. If you study the French history for a minute, you know they love to protest. They love to protest. They love to be angry, negative, and they love to do civil wars. Well, they do not love it. Come on, we take it from the 1790s. However, hey, they were doing a lot of psychopathic shit back in the day, and we will make sure they will never ever forget it, and that is a good thing. Cirque reported from Nice, France, Associated Press journalists Nicolas Garriga and Helena Alves in Paris contributed to this report. So, this week there's going to be the second round, and we'll see how it's going to play out. I don't think they're gonna get the supermajority, but hey, we'll have to wait and see. It would be definitely interesting, and I think it could. I don't want to say it would benefit. It would probably not benefit France at all. However, I think they need change, right? They need change, and they need someone who is not Macron to actually do stuff. Because if I still remember correctly, Macron also uses presidential power, or someone in his party used powers to some emergency powers to pass some of the reforms. Pretty much, I would say illegally. Yeah, I would say illegally, because it did not go to the parliament. It did not get enough votes, if I remember correctly. So they just passed it this way. So the French people probably deserve some change. We'll see. I say they're going to mess it up, but hey, who knows? Next up.